And in this video, we are going to look back at the Championship playoff final. It is £170 million worth, and it's Fulham who are coming back to the Premier League. And I'm with my good friend James Marsalek, who is a big Fulham fan. There he is with his Fulham shirt. He looks absolutely delighted. He's probably hungover, but who would you blame? Who'd you blame at all? He's done an absolute thrilling job, Scott Park. Who would have thought back in February 2019, when he was just a caretaker boss, that he would get Fulham back into the Premier League in just over 12 months' time? Absolutely fantastic. James, they've done it. Fulham have done it. It's £170 million richer, and you're back in the Premier League.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. Obviously, the season was what? I think they stayed 367 days. So, yeah, longest season ever. Feels so long since we've been relegated and sort of, started. We lost the first game to Barnsley away, and everyone was like, this is terrible. I don't think many people had faith in Scott Parker. And then, and throughout the season, it was so difficult. And I think all the players and the team said it in the post-match interviews. It was so up and down, and everyone it was an absolute roller coaster of a season. And there wasn't really a belief that we could do it from a lot of fans, but also outsiders. So it's really it's amazing that they've went through the playoff, and that we're going to be in the Premier League in 5 weeks seems a bit surreal, to be honest.
I mean, they obviously had to overcome Brentford, which, I mean, before the game, I honestly thought Brentford would be the favourites. And you, let's be honest, you said to me you were looking towards Brentford thinking they should do it. But you denied Brentford, that entry. So straight away, that must have caused a bit of a shock towards you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I said to you before the game, I was thinking 60-40 Brentford. I mean, I know it's a playoff final. A lot of people say anything can happen. But, you're looking at the season and the way they sort of played and, the way we've played as well. And you could just see that it was going to be difficult for us to stop them from scoring. And we said, but as soon as the game started, the first 15-20 minutes, when we spoke before we started, it was sort of saying how we pressed so high up. And we haven't done that against them before, or at least not successfully. And we've stopped any sort of, movement from the strikers. And, they had to sort of, lob the ball up and try and, head it and win the first header, which is a lot tougher for them than actually creating play and sort of playing from midfield. And once you stop that, the outsourced ball, then actually, we sort of didn't give them many chances. They didn't have huge chances. There was one, in the extra time, but in the regular time, there was one shot from Ollie Watkins. That was about it. That's all I can remember. I think tactically, and again, it goes back to what we said about, Scott Park has been criticised throughout the season, but actually, I think he got the tactics spot on, and he talks about so much about foundation and how he's tried to change the structure of the club and what's going within and how we play football, that we got, we can do different things on the pitch, and I think that really showed yesterday.
I think as well with Scott Parker, he's hardly had much time as a manager. And I always say about a lot of managers, give someone the time because they get to know their players even more. They can try out things and build from that. And, Ranieri didn't really have much time at Fulham. Whatever the fans think, they give Scott Parker a chance, not much experience. And look what he's done. We're seeing Frank Lampard at Chelsea do a good job. Solskjaer, some people may say he isn't. Some people may say he is for lack of experience, really, compared to some other managers. So, in a way, James, it's another great story of an ex-player who's very inexperienced doing quite well for the club he played for.
Yeah, absolutely. And now, looking back at it, if you looked at the season, you probably said that a lot of the criticism was unjustified. And he sort of, and I think it's easily forgotten, right, by fans how young as a manager he was. And he was sort of the first team coach, and he was the caretaker manager. And then from then on, he went on to, just say, right, we're going to give you the job for the next year or two or however long. And again, there were so many doubts. The way we played, wasn't sure, but I think, and I was certainly this way as well. I forgot how much of a beating we took in the Premier League, and so the way we went up the previous time was we were playing this really flowing football, so aggressive, so attacking, didn't really have to defend. And if we did, if people scored 2 goals, we scored 4. But obviously, in the Premier League, that's so difficult to do unless you're Man City, and you had to be brave. And so we got really exposed. I mean, they scored. I think we conceded 82 goals. So that was obviously, So and I completely the impact that has on the team and how devastated they must have been after everything. Because we had our 23 wins in a 23 unbeaten run in the Championship, and then didn't quite. We saw what Brentford did this season. We didn't win our last match, although we could have won that and then could have got promoted and then made it through the playoff. And obviously being at Wembley was incredible. But yeah, I mean, he's not only had to sort of get them up from that huge disappointment from that Premier League season, but also had to, had to change the mentality and change the football we play and make us a lot more solid. And I mean, as anyone will tell you, like, change the mentality and the core foundations of the team is so the most difficult part, right? I think
Absolutely.
and so I think obviously we were lucky that we kept hold of a lot of our best players, which was really good. And then they still had
surely as well, because they stayed, they clearly believed in Scott Parker and the club. Otherwise, you'd just go straight away, surely.
Yeah, I mean, that was one thing you could see at the end of the match. And I mean, Joe Bryan was like, look,
And
Scott told me to.
he scored twice,
Yeah,
didn't he?
exactly. And Scott told me to do that free kick. And, he was sort of, he's the one that set in. He, as again, tactically did so well. And I think they really like playing for him. I mean, you see Mitrovic hugging him and, being so like this chemistry wasn't there to the same extent, with Jokanovic, I'd say. But, these guys, so, I think that, it's a good group of players and they get on really well. And Scott, obviously, I think the advantage is that he's only recently retired. So everyone's like, oh, he knows exactly what it's like to be a footballer at this level. And he played at this club. And then sort of, he's gone to manage the club. And he's obviously done great things this season. Although, we lose against Cardiff and I'm probably telling you a different thing. Oh, yeah, he wasn't during the season. So that's the margins in football, this team, especially in football.
I thought what was quite incredible was Joe Bryan scoring both goals, because even when he scored the second goal, the commentator said, it's Joe Bryan again. Where's that come from? And I think I checked before this that I think overall he's only got 5 goals for Fulham. So two from last night from 3 goals before the game. That's incredible. That's 2 most important goals of his career.
Yeah, so I mean, he's really good going forward. I don't think any of the Fulham fans would be like, oh, he's he does really well going forward, and the balls he puts in for Mitrovic. I mean, I don't know how many assists he's had, but I imagine it's quite a few, especially to Mitrovic. I mean, defensively there have been question marks, but even yesterday he was great defensively, did an amazing job. So he sometimes gets exposed because we play Caballero in front of him, and Caballero doesn't track back as well as the guys on the other side, whether that's Knockout or whoever's playing on that side, Kamara. So he does get exposed. So I think he sometimes get a bit too much criticism. But he did an amazing job, and obviously that free kick, it was incredible. I mean, so happy for him. It'd be really interesting next season to see him. I mean, I wouldn't even mind him playing a little bit higher up the top, and just because that is where his strengths are.
Who knows? It's something to watch out for. I mean, I think as well. Like 2 years ago, you won the playoff final. Then you loved the playoff final. You're billionaires after winning 2 of them. I wish.
Even I was a billionaire even before that.
But I mean, 2 years ago you were back in the Premier League. I must admit, I thought you lot were going to stay up just because of your history. You know what it's like to play in the Prem. But 2 years on, would you say you're more confident that they can stay up this time?
Oof, good question. So if I didn't know what happened after we went up last time, I'd say that I was a lot more confident last time. But knowing what I know now, I am more confident now than before, because just I didn't realize how difficult it would be playing that style of football in the Premiership that we went up with last time. Although it was great, and also it was a bit of a it's not easy winning going unbeaten for 23 games. Like, there's something special going on. So it's clearly this momentum, and then that fell, and then obviously we didn't start well, and it was just I think like this time with the foundations that Scott Parker's put in place defensively, like if we have to, we can defend. We've got a strong midfield. I mean, we need to strengthen our defense for sure, and I'm sure we'll talk about that later. But but like there are things now that you see, like, oh, actually, you know what, we can do some of the things that you do need in that first season of the Premier League, as we know, like, it's going to be so tough. I'd even argue that this is probably going to be the toughest Premier League table for a very, very long time, if not ever. I
completely agree. It looks so hard now.
Yeah, because I just don't think you're not going to have a team, like Norwich just haven't been great, or some teams that are just, you're a bit like, well, I can see them going down. Like, I mean, obviously, like, if you had to put money on it, you'd probably put money on one of the teams that went up, or 2 of the teams that went up. But it's going to be really, really difficult. Every match, I think, it's just going to be, Yes,
Enjoy the next 5 weeks holiday time. Of course, again, that's another thing, isn't it? It's such a short time. I mean, Paul
yeah,
Scott Parker has got a. I mean, obviously he'll probably rest for a week or two with his team, but in the
yeah.
back of his mind, he'll be straight away thinking, won't he, what do we do then to stay up? Because short space of time to look at strengthening the team.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was already this morning. Like, first thing I did was check Twitter. Obviously, I looked at like all the highlights from last night, but also like any
with
transfers.
with the Titanic music.
Exactly. So I sent it to you. Yeah, it's a great video of Brian scoring a free kick with the Titanic tune. It's amazing. Um, but yeah, I mean, they're sort of looking like Ollie Watkins. I mean, was a rumor today.
Really? Oh,
Ivanovic was a rumor today.
yeah.
And is it Yedlin, the right back from
Yedlin.
Newcastle? So
Yeah.
there are a few interesting ones. And we've still got Zambuisa, who played for us last season. Zambuisa, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. And he's been in Spain. He's really good. So who knows? Harrison Reed as well. I think for me the number one thing is Harrison Reed, because with the shot, he's been such a key player for us. He's been so good in that CDM position.
Yeah.
I just think that with the time we've only got 5 weeks, we need someone who understands the system. And even if you get a like for like replacement for him, it's not going to be the same because he hasn't played with the team. So I think he's really important for us to have in that position. So I mean, yeah, that's the number one thing, and then the rest, yeah, I mean, we'll see.
Who knows? I mean, Fabrizio Romano, who's known for his transfer speculations on Twitter, if he says, "Here we go, Harrison Reed, it's happening," or Ollie Watkins. Well, James, congratulations. Fulham are there. I remember speaking to you back in December at Christmas. We were watching the game just before Christmas. Fulham got a draw against Leeds. It was a good result. And I remember we were.
No, we beat Leeds. We beat
Did you
Leeds.
beat? That was it. Sorry, you beat Leeds. That was it.
Yeah.
That's why you lot were celebrating. That
Yeah.
makes sense. But who'd have thought? We were saying to each other at the cafe at the end, will they make it up? Well, the answer's there, James. We had to wait a few more months than expected, but you're there. So congratulations, my friend.
Thank you. Yeah, appreciate it. So yeah, I mean, as I said, didn't expect it, but it's a pleasant surprise, I guess.